Toronto. VK on the beat. Check. I'm in Toronto where you wanna get the city love. I'm from Toronto where you wanna get the city love. I'm in Toronto like we wanna get the city love. My city love me back for my city love.
Welcome to episode 1456 of Toronto Mic'd, proudly brought to you by Great Lakes Brewery, a fiercely independent craft brewery who believes in supporting communities, good times, and brewing amazing beer. Order online for free local home delivery in the GTA. Palma Pasta. Enjoy the taste of fresh, homemade Italian pasta and entrees from Palma Pasta in Mississauga and Oakville. The Toronto Maple Leafs baseball team, the best baseball in the city, outside the Dome, with 8 championships since 1967. RecycleMyElectronics.ca. Committing to our planet's future means properly recycling our electronics of the past. The Advantaged Investor Podcast from Raymond James Canada. Valuable perspective for Canadian investors who want to remain knowledgeable, informed, and focused on long-term success. And Ridley Funeral Home, pillars of the community since 1921. Today, making his Toronto Mic debut, is stand-up comedian Hassan Phills. Welcome, Hassan.
Hi, thank you for having me, Mike.
You're a Scarborough guy.
Yes, Scarborough, born and raised.
And did you come from there today?
Pardon?
Oh, did you come from Scarborough today?
Oh, I didn't come from Scarborough. I live downtown now.
Okay, you've made the jump.
Yes.
What? You don't have to get uber specific, but what part of Scarborough were you raised in?
I was like a borderline Scarborough, East York, so Victoria Park and Danforth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, listeners of this show know I'm not fluent when you get east of Yonge. I know it, like I know enough to be dangerous or whatever, but I'm still, believe it or not, I'm still learning Scarborough primarily because I was born and raised in the West End. Mm-hmm. And to get out there is, it's not an easy task. So I'm still learning quite a bit about Scarborough.
Yeah, no, honestly, I think it's a vice versa thing. I think there's a lot of people from Scarborough who don't make it past Yonge, and then they go as far as like Ossington, and they're just like, yo, this is turbulence, you know?
So it goes both ways. I know. I've had this debate with FOTM Bob Willett about this, and I understand it goes both ways. But have you, Hassan, ever spent any time in South Etobicoke? You're in South Etobicoke now.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'm actually right now, I'm filming a TV show or like a Crave series with my friends, Trayvon Richards and Jermaine Richards. From 4Y'all Entertainment, and the production is like literally.
Is it like Evans and Islington or something like that? It's like a little north of here, right?
Yeah, it's like East Mall or something.
Oh,
like
East Mall. Mm-hmm. Okay. Is it anywhere close to like Sherway Gardens, or
exactly? Yeah, it's about like a 5-minute drive from Sherway Gardens.
On Kipling, maybe? I'm now throwing out names in South Etobicoke, but
in that area for sure.
Tell me a little bit more. We're going to talk about your origin story as a stand-up comic, and then of course, we're going to talk about the event you founded. I hope I say this correctly. Eidiot Mubarak?
Yeah. It's a spinoff of the word like Eid and idiot, like the way
like the word idiot.
Idiot, yes.
No, I thought this was what it was, and then I'm like, can that be true? We're going to get into that. So we're going to put a pin in that. We're going to get right back to that. But tell me about this Crave show. So this is exciting. So Bell Media owns Crave. So did Bell Media finance a show that you're in? Like, give me some details.
Yeah, so apparently, like, Bell Media, they financed this show. It was written by Trey and Jay Richards.
Okay, tell me, Trey and Jay, are these brothers?
Yeah, they're brothers, yeah. They're iconic YouTubers from the city of Brampton. They're repping the Bees.
Okay.
And, man, they've been doing it for more than like a decade, to be honest, and in terms of, like, comedy and influence and energy from the city, but this is like I watched them kind of like elevate themselves, and from the internet to content to now doing television and screenwriting, and it's
does this show have a name?
Yes, The Office Movers.
The Office Movers. So, hey, good on Bell Media for throwing some money at some homegrown talent that started off on YouTube and are now making the move to the whatever mainstream media, I guess, Crave, right? So
for sure, yeah, for sure.
And how are you involved? Are your buddies with these guys? How did you get in there?
I've actually I've watched them since I was in like high school, and so at one point I was invited as a guest on their podcast. They have a podcast called The Random Order, and from there it was literally like our first time kind of kicking it. And afterwards, we just stayed in touch, and they called me sometime last summer. And was like, "Hey, listen, we have this show, and I think you'd be a perfect role for it."
Wow!
And ironically, I'm actually like playing myself, like my character's
like
name
on
is
Curb
my
Your
name.
Enthusiasm when you see Larry David plays like a version of Larry David.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So when can us normies see the show on Crave? Do you know? Any
Honestly,
idea?
God willing, I think it'll be in like the fall. Yeah, sometime in the fall.
And it's called The Office Movers.
The Office
Listen,
Movers,
I'm
yes.
taking a note here. When I see The Office Movers become the next letter Kenny, I'm going to be taking a note about the day that Hassan visited my basement.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a big deal. Okay, so let's get you to comedy here. Okay. Scarborough guy. It's funny, I'm much older than you. When I think of Scarborough, I think of two musical acts from this city particularly. I think of Maestro Fresh West, who is an FOTM, and you're now an FOTM, Hassan. That means friend of Toronto Mike. So welcome to the club there.
Yes.
And I think of Bare Naked Ladies, and I know
Bare Naked Ladies are from Scarborough?
Yeah,
No way.
I'm here to educate. Oh, by the way, Mike Myers too. But I was
Myers, yeah,
thinking
that's for
music. I was thinking of before. Shout out to Mike Myers, not an FOTM, but his brother Paul is an FOTM, so he's like FOTM adjacent. But yeah, Bare Naked Ladies are Scarborough.
Oh wow, I never knew that. Oh, the more you know.
And if you go to YouTube and watch the video for their cover of Bruce Colburn's "Lovers in a Dangerous Time," which is a hot topic on this podcast, whether it's good or not, I think it's fantastic. And that's all that matters. But check it out. You get some great Scarborough footage from like the early 90s in that video.
I'll definitely check it out.
So you're growing up in Scarborough, and I'm curious about your background because it seems to be interesting background. So like, this is not brought to you by Ancestry.com, okay? But I am curious about your upbringing. So tell me about your parents.
Yeah. So my mother is from Djibouti. Which is like an East African country adjacent to Somalia and adjacent to Somalia, Eritrea, and Ethiopia. It's a bordering country, borders all three of those countries.
Djibouti.
Maybe even Kenya. I'm not even sure, but definitely. And then across the sea is Yemen. But it's a military country, so like a lot of these countries have bases. Other countries have bases. It was a French, not a French. It was a French colony. And then, so my mother moved from, she was going back and forth from Djibouti to Addis, and the capital city of Ethiopia, and made her way to Italy. I think that's where a lot of East Africans go in transit before they come to Canada. And then from there, she came to Toronto, and that's where she had met my father. In the West End, actually, probably like a Western Road. I'm giving you the whole
No, you know what?
synopsis.
I actually might be the only podcaster in the city who actually likes these details. Like, just give me the details. Yeah, keep going.
Man.
You're doing great.
Yeah, they met in the Western Road in Lawrence. My father was there, and then boom, they locked eyes and love at first sight, and whatever that was. And then I came. That's how I kind of came to be.
So wait, because your father's of Jamaican descent, is that right?
My father's of Jamaican descent, yes.
Okay, so how do you identify? I'm very interested in your perspective because I'm so boring. Like I had on the other day, I had Dan O'Toole on the show and we're talking, and I love my conversations with Dan, but I'm like, it's a little bit like talking to yourself. You know what I mean? Like it's like this is getting boring. So your mom, and again, this country, Djibouti, with all due respect to this wonderful country of Djibouti. I bet you go to like a random 100 people at Yonge and Bloor subway station and just say, show them that, say, I'm from Djibouti. They're going to be like, okay, what country is that in?
Yeah. No, for sure. No, it's definitely happened. I even like when I say Djibouti, it's interesting because they'll ask me people will ask me if I speak French, and I'll tell them no. Because most people from Djibouti, they're known for speaking French. Right. And then they'll ask me if I speak Somali. And because that's like the one of the primal languages, I don't speak Somali either. But then when I tell them I speak Arabic, which is probably like the third language, my mom speaks 7 languages for context.
Wow.
Yeah,
I can barely speak one.
Yeah, and so when I tell people I speak Arabic, they'll be like, "Oh wow, like this is how."
Okay. So, and it's interesting. So, your father of Jamaican descent, and so your parents both emigrated to Canada.
Yes, yes.
Okay, and were you born here?
Born here, yes.
Born here.
I was actually born in the West End, to be honest.
Yeah, you got to be honest on this show.
Yeah.
I don't want. If I find out there's one lie from you, Hassan, I'm coming after you. So, what hospital are you born in?
I don't even know. My mom just
something in the West End.
Something in the West End.
Humber or something. Or,
I think it was like closer to
St. Joe's by any chance?
Probably in the downtown area. I can't remember.
Oh, okay.
Like Parkdale, that hospital by Parkdale.
Well, Parkdale St. Joseph's Health Center, because I was born there.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And 2 of my 4 kids were born there.
Nice.
So shout out to St. Joe's.
Tradition, man. Traditional. No, I think my mom kind of came to her senses though, and she said, "I'm gonna go to Scarborough."
Okay, well, you should talk your dad into it too. And okay, now, and again, I don't know. Are your parents still together? What's going on?
Oh no, my father is moved. He's like moved on. He lives in Florida. My mother is remarried.
Okay,
happily, but we're still like everybody's kumbaya.
Good to hear. Okay, so how do you identify? So your dad's black. Your mother is
my mother's black as well, but
okay.
fair skinned. You know, a bit. My mother is mixed. She's mixed with like. My grandfather was Italian, and my grandfather was Italian and Eritrean, and my grandmother was like full Ethiopian. But we have generations of family that lived in Djibouti, so. It's like it's an interesting mix. I don't.
Well, you said Italian, so I got to ask you the big question. Do you enjoy Italian food?
Of course.
Okay, I have in my freezer for you a large lasagna, frozen lasagna from Palma Pasta.
Oh.
Now you in Scarborough, you're like, where's Palma Pasta? So it's a West End joint. It's in Mississauga and Oakville, but you can go to palmapasta.com. And you're going to love this, man. If you love lasagna, you're going to love what I'm sending you home with.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.
Look, that's what I'm here for.
This is the box.
Well, that's the box. It's empty, right? So when you, what happens is at the end, when you bump your head on the ceiling, I'll feel embarrassed that you did that, and then I will sneak upstairs to get it out of the freezer, and I'll fill up this.
Low ceilings are the vibe. Like that's even like the best for comedy.
Now you're
like,
singing my song. Tell me more.
100%.
Like you don't want to be doing stand up and see these high ceilings, right?
Yeah, man. The laughs won't bang. Like people need to feel like they're in danger. You know, like they could be kidnapped at any.
You need to know
moment.
that if a fire breaks out, you're gonna die, right? Like if you feel safe, like there's lots of exit, lots of space here. That's no place for comedy.
Not at all. No assurance. You need very little assurance of your life. For sure.
I like the idea of, if you don't feel like you're in danger, how are you going to laugh your ass off? Like if you feel too safe, you won't laugh.
Mm-hmm. It's like when you're in class and you're laughing around with your boys and the teachers there. Like it's just so much harder to like restrain that laugh. So you just got to let it out. That's why I run when I laugh. It's too loud. Like even if I stay here, I'm gonna have to like run up the stairs.
Yeah, just you'll be unconscious though, because I see you leaping up and you will smash. You're 6'3", and this basement's for people only. I need you to be under 5'5" if you're gonna visit my basement.
Yeah, 5'5" is you're coasting here. You could do jumping jacks.
I say that if I will. I bet you anything. I got to find somebody who's 5'5" and get them to walk straight into this recording studio, and I'll bet you a case of Great Lakes beer that they smash the tip of their head. Like I don't think they clear at 5'5". I think I need somebody 5'4".
Yeah.
Yeah,
maybe 5'4".
You know what?
For sure.
There's a measuring tape for you, courtessy of Ridley Funeral Home. Later, we'll measure it with the Ridley Funeral Home measuring tape, and we'll see how tall you got to be to.
All right, bet.
Okay, so you're growing up in Scarborough, but I read a note, so I want to ask you, of course, about your road to comedy. But I read that you were a pretty good basketball player. Is that right?
Yeah,
is that fair?
For sure. Yeah.
Tell me about the basketball career and how does that turn into comedy?
So I was. Even though I was like a big time, like I was a comedy enthusiast. I liked theater. I liked entertainment. I was a class clown, but I wasn't like the. I was a troublemaker as well, but but I really had some sort of like enthusiasm towards theater, but my enthusiasm for basketball was just a lot more. Like I had my desire to make it to the league and competitive. I loved the game. It was the first thing I was really like passionate about.
Who was your favorite basketball player as a kid?
I went through like crazy intervals. I at one point it was like Vince Carter, and then Tracy McGrady, and then Damon Stoudemire. I used to watch like Robert Ory at one point. Was like,
wait, Stoudemire, are you old enough to have watched?
I would go on YouTube and just like watch
Mighty Mouse.
Yeah, I'd watch as many videos. Tim Hardaway, anything like I could take from certain. Yeah, the Tim Hardaway crossover. Anything like Robert Ory was like a big. I was like, because he has like at least. Yeah,
3 different teams. Did he win the?
He has like 11 rings.
Yeah, he's one of the guys. He's sneaky guy, kind of
sneaky dude. He has like at least like a 5-minute highlight reel on just like chase down blocks, and I would just watch that. And I was at one point in high school and in university, I was known for my chase down blocks.
Okay, so give me a little any possibility at some point that you could have played pro somewhere?
I actually did. I played in a.
Okay, you know what? I'm learning here.
Yeah. I played in a professional basketball tournament like multiple times for like multiple seasons in a year for like about 2-3 years in this small town in France called Lille, in north of France, or Tourcoing.
Okay.
And it was fun time, man. It was an international tournament, so like teams from across the world will come and represent their countries, and it was just like the team that I would go with was like a bunch of my friends from the city of Toronto, and we basically be representing Canada, and it was a lot of fun. I did that for about 3 years.
Amazing.
For about like a couple months in the year.
Amazing. So when do you start to really focus on comedy?
At one point in my life, I was probably about like 24 years old. I'm 30 now. I was about 24 years old. I started doing comedy, and I was in university, my last year of eligibility, Which
university?
Capilano University in North Vancouver.
I was going to say, where the hell is that? Okay.
Yeah, North Vancouver. So basically, I moved from, when I was 19, I moved from Toronto to Vancouver. A lot of my friends were going out west or out east, and if they were going out west, they'd only go as far as like Alberta,
right?
Either to work on the rigs or go up to Fort Mac and stuff like that. And I was like, you know what, let me just go a bit further. And I had one friend that was out there.
Well, you kept going until you hit the ocean. You're like, I can't go anymore.
Exactly. I just did like, was it on February when they walk out into the Pacific, and just bear.
Oh, the Bering Strait.
Yes.
Yeah, that's how our indigenous people arrived. You know that they walked over the frozen Bering Strait. Absolutely.
Yeah, crazy. It was a beautiful thing for me to do. Like, I just never been that far. I wanted to have just like a post-secondary experience away from home.
Sure.
And there I played for like about 5 years. I lived in Victoria, BC as well. I played at Camosun College for a year.
Shout out to Steve Nash.
Yes. It was actually pretty cool. I went to like his high school just to like kick it with people. I talked to coaches that used to like train with Steve as well, and people that played against him as well or coached against him. It was that the basketball community on both sides of like from Ontario to from BC is just it's like the same language almost. So
let me ask you, today is the day March Madness begins, so that's literally as we speak. In fact, I got to turn on the TV. What are we doing here? But like, was there ever a moment you thought maybe you can get a scholarship and go to an NCAA school?
Oh, yeah, for sure. But I'm not going to lie to you. I was taking, like, at one point in university, I was taking a bunch of applied courses. So the idea of going to university, I was like, what? I need academic courses? And so
not really, right? They just get somebody to say they're you, and they take the exams for you.
If I was that good. If I was that good.
That's only for the grades.
Okay. Yeah, it's for the grades. But
the McDonald's All-Star High School guys get that. Right?
The Canadian BioSteel guys.
Right.
But I was at one point, honestly, I was more fixated on the experience. I knew a lot of guys who played Division I basketball, and they to get a scholarship in general and enjoy that experience is like a tremendous accomplishment. But if you're not in a situation where you're like getting a lot of playing time and killing it and really enjoying and thriving, then I was like, this probably kind of sucks. Because like now I play CCAA, and by my second year I was like a starter. I was averaging maybe about like 16 a game. I had breakout seasons.
But did they cover your tuition, or you still got to pay for the full tuition?
They would cover like portions of your tuition, but then it'd be on you to like apply for bursaries and scholarships and get your academics sorted. And honestly just getting your money up. But at one point, I was again with transitioning into comedy. I was doing a lot of things in my life half-ass. By my 4th year, I was doing like school half-ass, basketball half-ass, work half-ass. I had like YouTube aspirations, and I was doing that half-ass. I had girlfriends. I was doing that half-ass. Everything was just not good. So I told myself, if I could dedicate 5 years of my life to something I could do for the next 30 to 40, then I should be in a better place right now. Because and so that's what I had done. I just like I slowly detached myself from a few of these things that were that I was doing half-ass. And girl was gone, work, I cut down on the jobs, I cut down on school, I cut off basketball, and I said, let's do this. And
so am I hearing you correctly? You were like a jack of all trades, and now you're going to be a master of one. Okay, you can use that if you like. Yeah. Okay, so comedy, you've chosen comedy. This is where you want to spend the next 40 years or whatnot. So you're just an independent guy. I'm guessing you're naturally funny. You're funny, right?
Yeah. I think so.
Here's a question for you. So when you come on a show like this, okay, so they're like, I don't know, whoever tells you, hey, there's a guy in South Etobicoke, you're going to knock on the side door and visit his basement at 10 a.m. on Thursday. Do you feel on your way here, do you feel any pressure at all that you're like, oh, I'm a stand-up comic. He's interviewing a stand-up comic. I have to be funny? Like, do you feel any pressure to be funny on a show like this?
Not really, because even like some of my best friends, man, are way funnier than me. Like I've hung out with people that are just funnier than me. I know how to be like a fly on the wall. I know how to listen, and I know how. I think it's more important to be interesting than it is to be funny. Sometimes if you put emphasis on being funny all the time, then it's kind of like you got to learn how to turn it off. You
got to be on. Yeah, if you're on all the time, then how do you like decompress and all that? And then you lose yourself in being on. So just to reiterate, you felt zero pressure to be funny on this program right here. I'm gonna just be myself. We're gonna have a conversation.
100%. Any room I walk into, I'm like, I'm prepared to just be myself.
Okay, so give me a little bit of like the Reader's Digest version of how you get to be the guy I'm talking to right now, who has sold out the Winter Garden Theater on April 13th for your Eidiot, which we're going to talk about in more detail soon, because I have questions. Mubarak show, the Eidiot Mubarak show.
Oh, you're killing it, man. You're saying it perfectly, man. Fluently.
You know what? I practice all morning. Okay, I was like, don't fuck this up. Okay, Eidiot Mubarak. Yeah. Okay, so from the time you graduate, from BC University, there, what is it called?
Capilano.
Capilano. Okay, from the time you graduate, and you did graduate, right?
Yeah.
Did you bring your papers?
No,
I want to see. Okay. Did you graduate? This isn't.
No, I didn't.
That's not a gotcha question. Okay, so you did not graduate. No. So it sounds like you spent 5 years playing there. You didn't get the piece of paper?
The 5 years there, I was saying, yeah, man. I decided I was finished.
See, is your mom disappointed in you for not getting that piece of paper? No, okay.
Not at all.
She gets it. Okay.
She gets it. Yeah.
I'm a little disappointed, like, because it's like you've invested so much time. I know you were doing other things. Girls, comedy, basketball. There's a lot working. There's a lot going on for you. But you got, and again, I know things have changed. I got 20 years on you. But when I got this honors BA at U of T, it was like, okay, I had to get these 20 credits. And there were certain rules. Like you couldn't just get any 20 credits. You got to get a science in there and a math. There's like prerequisites and stuff. And you got to declare majors and stuff. How close, can you tell me how close you were to getting the actual degree from this university?
I was maybe like about like 4 courses away.
And you've never thought, hey, I'll do like a correspondence or summer thing, and I'll just pick up these 3 courses and just get that, because you don't need that piece of paper.
No, I already knew what I wanted to do, and if anything, I thought it would have been a crutch for me to go off of.
Really?
And then my plan A would have been ruptured, and I'd be like, oh well, plan B is still here. So yeah, not at all, man. And even in the midst of like the whole journey, I know no two come up stories are exactly the same.
Right.
I have like my experience throughout the whole time. I will never regret it. Like from the money spent, the money in debt, the money.
No regrets.
No regrets at all. Like it's
so like Frank Sinatra. Regrets he has a few, but too few to mention.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's really good. I like that.
Yeah, you can borrow that too, but you gotta get credit. Is it Paul Anka? I think Paul Anka wrote the lyrics. So Paul Anka is a Canadian musician of notoriety, but I feel like he took a French song. This is my, again, I tend to get these wrong, okay, because they're off the top of my head. I got all these things now floating around in my head, and sometimes they conflate and they mix up. But I remember this. There's a French song, which is the melody for My Way by Frank Sinatra. And then Paul Anka writes English lyrics. I actually have somebody, we're live streaming at live.torontomike.com, and we have the official Toronto Mike historian, Jay Ho, also known as Jeremy Hopkin. He can confirm this story, but my memory, or at least I remember soaking in one day that Paul Anka wrote the lyrics to My Way, and Frank Sinatra had it is the #1 funeral song. So if somebody dies at Ridley Funeral Home, often they'll request that they play My Way by Frank Sinatra. Yeah, regrets, I have a few, but too few to mention.
I love that.
Now, we're going to dive in. I got a fun fact from the aforementioned Jay Ho, who tells me that the Elgin and Winter Garden is the only Edwardian double-stacked theater left in the world. Like, this is an absolutely beautiful and rare place to have a show. So we're going to dive deep into that. I'm just going to give you a couple of gifts because you made the trek all the way here to South Etobicoke. So you got the lasagna. You got the measuring tape. I'm sending you home with some fresh craft beer from Great Lakes Brewery.
This I will let you keep. I don't drink.
You don't drink?
I don't drink.
Can I ask, is that a religious thing?
Yeah, for sure.
So what religion do you identify as here?
Muslim.
So my question for you, so that comes from your mom's side?
Yes. My mother decided to raise me Muslim. Yes.
By the way, the first clue I knew you were going to say it, you identify as Muslim is Eidiot Mubarak showcase.
Yes.
See how perceptive I am? I'm like, this guy ain't Catholic, okay?
Yeah, paying attention.
I'm paying attention. Okay. So we're going to get into that religious aspect. But what about your Jamaican descent father? Most Jamaican descent people I interact with are Christian. Was there any pressure? Like, was there any talk about you being raised with these two religions?
No, not at all. Like, my mother was very stern on
You're Muslim.
Yeah, I'm being Muslim.
Can I tell you? We're going to be all over the place here today, but I'm a happy atheist, but I was raised Catholic, and I got this. We did a world religions course in grade 12 or something. World religions, where you learn. Oh my God, there's this thing called Judaism, and there's this thing called what are other religions? Islam, and you start to learn about other religions, Buddhism. And fine, so I learned about Muslim, but then I watched this series. You might have watched it. It's called Rami.
Yes.
I love Rami.
Yeah, one of my best friends is on that show. Dave Merhesh.
I know him.
Yes.
I know him very well. Absolutely, and yes, he has a big role on that show. But then on Rami, there's a character who explains how you're supposed to pronounce it, and he says it's like pussy. It's like pussy. It's Muslim. It's not Muslim. It's Muslim, like pussy. And I've changed the way I say that word. So Muslim, he says, like Muslim, like pussy, not Muslim. So I've been saying Muslim because of Rami. This show, yeah, I learned a lot. We'll get to it when we get to the. We'll get back to it.
I like that. I guess it's very 101.
You got to learn somewhere, right?
Yeah.
It's like I got to learn about these things. All right, we're gonna talk more about your religion and it intersects with your comedy, but you don't drink. Any dietary restrictions when it comes to food? Like, for example, can you eat pork?
No, I don't swine and dine.
You don't.
But that's also like a Caribbean thing. That's a real Rasta thing. They don't do pig.
Judaism doesn't do that either. And if you adhere, and I do have guests who are Jewish who say to me they can't combine meat and dairy. Like, if the meat and dairy are in the same dish or whatever, no go. So the meat lasagna, that's beef, okay? Not
so they be missing out on the lasagna.
Yeah, well, they can get a vegetarian lasagna because then there's no meat in it. So I have to get a special vegetarian lasagna. But
thoughtful, I like it.
Are you an adherent Muslim?
An adherent? Yes, I am. I guess practicing. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so we're going to talk about how this all ties in with a Ramadan and the Eidiot Mubarak showcase all coming. You're a basketball fan, but do you enjoy baseball?
I can only say I've been to one baseball game.
Okay, here's my pitch to you. See, pun intended. See, pitch. See, all right. Underneath this beer, which you're not taking, so I'm taking that. Okay.
Yeah, that's all you, man.
No problem. I'll give it a good home.
Toronto
so that's
Maple
for you.
Leafs
That's Toronto Maple Leafs baseball team history. It's a very interesting book. Recounts the history of this franchise, and I would ask you, Hassan, to visit Christie Pitts for a Toronto Maple Leafs baseball team game this summer. The opener is May 12 at 2 p.m. and I'm going to bring out a whole bunch of FOTMs for this event. And I'm just putting in the ask that you make an appearance. So
what if I tell you I live up the street from there?
Well, you got no excuse then. That tells me you have no excuse. So
The
Christy
only excuse
Pitts,
is if I'm on tour. If I'm on tour, then I won't be able to.
If you're on tour, I'm going to excuse you. But if you're not on tour,
I'm there.
May 12, 2 p.m., I want to see FOTM Hassan Phills.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, awesome. So enjoy that book.
Thank you.
A little advice here. I don't know who's handling your financial. Do you have enough money to invest in any kind of like RSPs or anything of the TFSAs, anything of that nature?
Potentially.
Okay, this is a personal question. I know. Okay, so I'm going to encourage you to subscribe to a podcast called the Advantaged Investor Podcast from Raymond James Canada. You get, advisors and experts give you great advice and insight, whether you're managing your own investments or if you have a person who does that for you. The Advantaged Investor Podcast from Raymond James. And then one more tip for you. If you've got like old phones, old laptops, old electronics, old cables, like lying in a drawer at home or something, don't throw that in the garbage. You should clean it out, man. Spring cleaning. We're in spring now. There's a great FOTM KOTJ episode I dropped last night, Spring Jams. So anybody who wants to hear songs that remind them of spring, that's in the Toronto Mike feed, the one before this one. But you're going to go to recyclemyelectronics.ca and you're going to put in your postal code, and then you'll get like a nearby depot where you can drop that stuff off, and they'll properly recycle it so the chemicals and they don't end up in our landfill. So this is your orders today. Do you hear me, Hassan?
I heard you loud and clear.
Loud and clear. Okay, that's enough gifts for you. I feel like I've taken care of you.
Yeah, for sure.
And even myself, because I've just got myself a nice pack of Great Lakes beer. So thank you very, very much. Okay. So the road to comedy, give me some of the highlights on the way before we dive into this Eidiot. Sorry, I butchered it because you made me nervous. Eidiot Mubarak showcase.
Yeah. Perfect. So basically, started comedy in Vancouver, just doing school basketball, and honestly, in the first Vancouver at the time was just like a perfect place for me to get started. I already had like an ecosystem of like friends, and the community there for like comedy was thriving for at least like people who were just starting. There was a lot of rooms. And from there, honestly, for the first 2-3 years, I didn't worry about making money at all. I just really wanted to get time. Time was probably the most important thing.
Put in your reps.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get that.
Exactly. And then afterwards, honestly, whenever I'd come back to Toronto or go anywhere else aside from Vancouver, you'd always see where I was. You would never see where I was going. I wouldn't tell you where I was going because I just was focused on making strangers laugh. I think that's probably the most important thing, especially when you're starting. You don't want to be inviting a bunch of your friends and the people that you know while you're
right.
Raw. Right. So I started.
You want an authentic reaction. You don't want your supportive reaction from people who care about you.
Exactly. Oh, yeah, that's a really good way of putting it.
Are you taking notes here? I'm giving you such gems, Hassan.
I'm playing it back.
Well, it's true. I did record this. You don't need to be smart. You don't need. You can transcribe it. I recorded this.
Exactly. But yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, supportive help. I wanted to just be sovereign and just be
right because they'd blow smoke up your ass.
100%. When you're starting, especially you're so I wouldn't, and but the goal is to make strangers laugh. If I was only making my friends laugh, I'd be out of business for sure. So
this is a great piece of advice for anyone, regardless of comedy or otherwise. That if you surround yourself, like we call them yes men, I guess that antiquated term, yes people. But if you create this echo chamber where if everyone's going to just tell you your shit doesn't stink, you're the best. Your ideas are amazing. Every single one of them is gold. If you surround yourself with those people, you're going to start to, believe the hype. FOTM Chuck D, don't believe the hype. Okay? You got to have people who will be honest with you. Like, Hassan, that joke's not funny. You need to, workshop that, or maybe you need a new tag on this, or that's fucking offensive, Hassan. What are you doing there? We'll get to that in a minute. But what you're doing there is how you get better as a performer.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Good job.
And
okay.
So, and it wasn't until I came back to Toronto, I started producing my own shows.
When was this?
I must have been about 2021.
So we post pandemic times.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So for a stand-up in this country, how difficult is it? Like, did you realize, hey, if I'm going to do this, I have to, book, promote, produce my own tour?
Yeah, pretty much. But honestly, I never thought of it as like, I've always heard like comics who like dread producing their own shows. But I just thought about it. I was like, man, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to make it as fun as possible for myself. Because honestly, I don't really care about people in terms of if I'm doing something to please them or please the consumer or whatever. I want to make sure I'm having the most fun. And that way, if I'm having fun, you're going to have fun too. That's the way I see it. My energy has to be contagious. And energy is the real currency in this one. So I kind of just took it upon myself from the very jump. So from the graphics, if I'm gonna if I'm gonna invite people to a show, I'm gonna have the name, the poster, even the venue too. Like earlier on when I was trying to do shows in Toronto, I would try to book comedy clubs, but they wouldn't give me like obviously a weekend or something like that. And I wasn't getting booked as a headliner. To be honest, to be fair, early on, like in that time where I started producing a show, I wasn't like a headliner. I probably had like 15 minutes to my name. That was like really good. And everything after that was turbulence,
I hear you.
But what I did was I started booking just random venues, like studios, like photography studios, basements, lounges, random things. And I said, okay, well, this is where I wanted to invite people. But mind you, my name was still like buzzing in the city. So I was doing a lot of other people's shows. But as you know, stand-up comedy is traditionally done in like bars, nightclubs, lounges. And so, again, I have a lot of...
You had to think outside the box.
I had to think outside the box. But I also had like a Muslim following at the time. So here I am.
I like Muslim, like pussy.
Yeah. I like Muslim. I don't know.
Say it again.
Muslim.
I feel like you're the authority here.
Yeah, I got you.
Am I saying it wrong?
Muslim is like I'm probably
Muslim.
like Muslim. It sounds like a Nation of Islam. Like, yo, are you Muslim?
Okay, say it again a little slower.
Like Muslim.
Mus.
Yeah.
Okay, because
I like
Rami.
mus.
So again, I don't have. I don't know, but
try with me. Muslim. Boom.
See, that means I've been misled by this guy on this show.
Don't believe. Yeah, man. It's
Muslim.
Bow. That sounds hard. I like that.
Look, I can't say pasta. Is it pasta or pasta?
Pasta.
Say it like just try to clear your head if you can, and just tell me.
But it is a difference.
Well, say it like as you would say it if we didn't have this for this conversation.
Yeah, pasta. Yeah,
say
pasta.
Pasta or pasta?
Pasta. I think I would say pasta.
See, I say pasta, and then every once in a while somebody will tell me that's American. It's pasta. But you're a man of the world. You've been to like 11 countries, so maybe you've been around. Okay.
Yeah.
I want to ask you specific questions about That's Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a show. This show went across Canada.
Oh, the Cross Crazy tour. That's great. Yeah, I've done actually about like 3 tours across Canada now. And each tour has been like significantly bigger or things. So That's Crazy tour was probably one of the first ones I did across Canada. Like,
but is that financially viable? Only because I've heard from so many rock bands who go broke going across Canada.
Oh, honestly,
that's the cost of
a band is crazy. They probably have nasty overhead. They have probably like 5 different people, their equipment, audio, tech dudes. That's a hard pull. For me, my overhead is really just my shoes.
But you're driving across the country? You're flying? How are you getting across the country?
I'm flying. I'm taking the Via Rail. I'll figure it out.
Okay. And when you book, you said you were kind of creative of how you book these venues. So you're not going to book what will I pick on here? You're not going to book Roy Thompson Hall or whatever. No. Although, but you did just book, like, we're going to talk about this event that's coming up in April, Eidiot Mubarak Showcase. And that's as we talked about, that's at the Winter Garden Theater there. Yeah. Like, so you are booking some pretty interesting venues. These aren't in like, you're not doing it in the back of a brewery.
No. So basically, the other tours that I would plan, I was like, I'd either book like established comedy clubs, but they would really give me dates that were like Wednesdays or a Friday or Sunday, like on their slow days. But I would still, just through the power of like social media and the beloved people, I'd be able to fill out these rooms, and I do that like or I would do like a basement. There's like there's a spot in Toronto called The Bunker. at one point I did the bunker seats about maybe 90 people if you really go shoulder to shoulder, feet to feet.
Right.
And I did that. I did a show there. I did 6 sold out shows in 1 month in the basement, and I just wanted time and reps and stuff like that. And the last tour that I did strategically, I did every city except for Toronto. I did every city in Canada except for Toronto.
Why did you skip the most populous, most diverse city that this country has to offer?
Just so we could do this Eidiot Mubarak show.
I see. Okay,
Right.
I got you. Okay, so tell me a bit about the Eidiot Mubarak show.
So basically, the Eidiot Mubarak show, it spawned from the idea of like when you get older, as a Muslim, you know, when you're a kid, you're receiving gifts, you're getting money, you're being taken care of after partaking in the fasting of Ramadan, the celebration of Ramadan, but as an adult now, you're the giver. You have to give the kids money. You have to go see family. There isn't really anything to do as an adult, and then especially you don't want to indulge in something that's like in things that you've abstained of from the whole month, whether it be like nightclubs or parties or hookah lounges and stuff like that. So I figured like, okay, let's do like provide like an entertaining alternative for a community that's being underserved in this realm of like humor, you know, and stand up. And I just really wanted, and obviously stand-up comedy is one thing that I love, and if you really love something, you can make other people love it too. And I was like, so the first show that I did was actually in the Eidiot Mubarak I did was in the Stockyards in Toronto. I booked like
know it well.
I booked out a studio there, and we fit maybe about just under 200 people in a warehouse. I stood on like a crate, I'm pretty sure, and I just did a set. And then the second year I did Eidiot Mubarak, which was last year. I booked a church. I think it's like a Bulgarian church over on like Sumac and Dundas in the Regent Park area.
Hanging out in the West End here.
Oh no, that's downtown.
Well, okay.
And then yeah, man, it was just I didn't.
So how
think
do you
the show-
graduate from those venues to Winter Garden Theater? Like what changed? You just you're taking big swings here. You sold out the show on April 13th, but there's a new you're adding a second
we
show.
added a second show.
So can you get tickets for the second show right now?
Yeah, you can get tickets.
What day is that second show?
It's the same day, just at a different time at 5:30.
Like
5
when the
p.m.
Beatles came to Maple Leaf Gardens and Harold Ballard said, "You're playing 2 concerts this day." Okay, so April 13, there's still tickets for the second show you added at the Winter Garden Theater. Is it expensive to book the Winter Garden Theater for your show?
It's definitely pricey.
More pricey than the Stockyards warehouse?
Definitely, the overhead cost is it's insane. But honestly, I want people to enjoy the experience. I think like even last year having 700 people pull up to a church with seats that I set up with my friend Mark. You know, him and I set up like maybe 2 hours before the show. We were pulling chairs, and even like people who
you
came
rent
to
these chairs?
We rented chairs.
Yeah, like at a wedding, you'd rent chairs. I did that. Okay.
We rented the chairs. The venue had some chairs.
But you've kicked it up substantially. So you've gone from, you said you're in a warehouse, in the Stockyards, which by the way, you're too young. When I was growing up, that part of the city stunk.
Oh, it still does.
It still stinks?
It has like
Okay, I know George Bell Arena well because I used to go there. My kid played 10 years at George Bell Arena, which is pretty much right there. But you still can still smell the stench of the old Stockyards.
Yeah, the Stockyards, and then I think there's like a meat factory there.
There's still one there. It's down the street from that. Between, I wanted to call the Future Shop is gone, right? Oh my God, it's been a long.
Future Shop.
What is there now? Do you know? Like what was there? Like there.
Best Buy maybe or something.
Well, okay, it's got to be a Best Buy, of course, because they bought it. That's right. Thank you. That's why you're here. Okay, so there's a Best Buy, but between the Best Buy and the George Bell Arena, there's a street, and there's absolutely some slaughtering going on of some animals.
For sure. I literally, that's where it was up the street from that. The venue was just up the street.
I know exactly where you are, man. Yeah, it still smells a bit there for sure here. But then you go to the church. And you said 700 people paid to see you.
700 people came. It wasn't just me. There was a showcase of like a few other comics that I have, and honestly, I again didn't think it was going to be as big as I thought it would be, as it was, and just was just lucky, fortunate enough to kind of like pull like I didn't really have a team too. I had like a group of like friends, you know, just like friends who are like borderline the board of directors, and they just come through and they volunteer their time.
Wow.
And to help me kind of put it together. But this year has been about growth and kind of just developing a team we thrive a little bit more and make my life a bit easier, and also make things better for the people that come and support us. And so this is why we chose the Winter Garden Theater, and we teamed up with Guru Energy. They're one of our sponsors for the show, to make it happen. And the lineup is heavily curated. So I have like my friend Malik Al Asal. He's going to be co-headlining with me. We actually featured on Just for Laughs together, doing a co-headlining set about this year and for the Just for Laughs Toronto, and it was a fun experience. I wish they.
So when was this? Because I have questions about Just for Laughs.
Mm-hmm. This was in Toronto of 2023.
2023,
and you know they put us in like the cabaret room at the comedy bar. And ideally, in my mind, when we were in discussions with Just for Laughs, I said you should give us a theater, and they kind of neglected to believe or see the vision in that.
They undervalued you.
Definitely. And then I said, buddy, man, like honestly, nobody's gonna put you in a position better than yourself. So
bet on yourself.
Exactly. So I said, buddy, let's do this
okay
theater.
For Freddie Van Vliet, right?
Exactly.
Okay, listen, you're the Freddie Van Vliet of Toronto comedy.
Yeah, man. Van Vliet Street, man. Van Vliet Street. I'm a strong believer that they should have like for the championship, they should have named the street after Fred Van Vliet.
Wow. Okay. I would have. Yeah. All starters should have. Well, he didn't even start. Right. He came off the bench, right? Because Lowry was starting.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That's
but
amazing.
he was
what a team
super
that was.
pivotal.
That 2019, you know, pre-pandemic, everything was normal and awesome. When I look back at that team, it had the bench. What a deep team. I mean, you know, obviously without Kawhi, we don't close that deal, and then we got Kawhi and we were able to close the deal. But what a deep team! What a great team! We may never celebrate another championship in this city for the Toronto Raptors, but we did it in 2019. Flags fly forever.
Mm-hmm.
Flags fly forever. Okay, questions. Okay, so Just for Laughs just announced that they're filing for bankruptcy, and they canceled the 2024 show or whatever their thing they were going to do here. They canceled the one in Montreal too, the big one. But how does this affect you, Hassan? Like having Just for Laughs pause?
Honestly, it hasn't affected me at all. Big chillin'. Honestly, I like, I'm more so care about the people who work at Just for Laughs. The organization itself is one thing, but I had a lot of friends that were working in, or were heavily involved, and you know, I think they had the skills to honestly just do things on their own. But I think the idea of working with a corporation like that, kind of like had them as like their crutch, you know, a little bit of their crutch. But now that has gone, I think like I like that, to be honest. Dismantle it, let it go. They already had all the symptoms of bankruptcy anyway. Like they'll be like, oh man, you know, it's we're a nonprofit organization. You be working with them, they'll give you like you could do as many shows as you want with these guys. They'll give you like crumbs at that. I think that, man, it's just like a wave of like, this is there's going to be a new wave where people aren't going to these organizations, like these networks, to find out who they want to see. The people are not naive. They're just going to go straight to the source. And that's what I like.
And you're the source now, man.
Be the plug.
Yeah.
Be the plug. Don't be the dealer, man.
No, I mean, own your shit is what I've been telling people forever. Like, own your shit. And you own your shit.
Uh-huh.
Love it. Okay. So,
but also there's a lot of people, like I personally, though, one thing I do love about Just for Laughs is like the festival. The festival, I'm actually grateful I went to it last year, courtesy of my boy Neil Bansal. He's one of the higher up staff at JFL, and he invited me there just to kind of like hang out. I like to be a fly on the wall, and there I love meeting comedians. Like I think they are very interesting people. One of the best things I saw was my friend Malik. Actually, he introduced me to this new style of comedy that it's not new. It was just new to me.
Yeah.
It was like alternative comedy where there's like improv and all this other stuff. I'm like, wow, I never laughed so much in my life. I still think about it to this day. And I was like, the festival itself is a great experience. That's the one thing I'm going to miss.
You miss the community, but now it sounds like to me what you're doing is you're nurturing your own community now. Like you're basically replacing Just for Laughs.
Honestly, in a minute way, you know, if you're focusing in the
Howie Mandel hasn't called you yet and said I need in.
No, man, no, he's busy with Canada's Got Talent right now. So
is that where he is? Okay,
yeah, he's doing his thing.
My daughter did see him taking the ferry from the island to Harbourfront there.
Oh, nice.
Howie Mandel, and they said hi to each other.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
Yeah, I think that's cool too. By the way, who's the most famous person you've met?
The most famous,
because our family has a contest, and you'd think it might. I don't know. I would think it could be me. Like I interview famous people like Hassan Phills, but like even bigger people like Chuck D and stuff. And I interview these people, but I don't currently lead this contest. My daughter has met Will Smith, so she's the leader right now. My wife has met Ice-T, which is a big deal, of course. But who's the most famous person? And I don't mean like that you've had like at least a exchange with, like a hello, how's it going?
You know the young guy from Stranger Things.
I can see him like this is the guy who was in It.
I gotta double check.
Find out which guy. I know there's a guy who was in It from Stranger Things. I actually watched season 1 of Stranger Things and then I tapped out. I know everybody still loves it, but I just kind of was there for the early to mid 80s nostalgia because like I was literally there for the early to mid 80s and I kind of dug the whole Dungeons and Dragons and the whole ET vibe, but then I tapped out.
Oh, Finn
yeah,
Wolfhard.
so he's in this he was in It. Okay, so you met him.
Yes, Finn. Well, I met him at Just for Laughs actually in Vancouver.
Amazing.
I met him in the lobby of the hotel.
That's the most famous person you've had a convo with. I feel like we got to beat that record.
I think I had a funny. It wasn't like we had a conversation, but it was a funny exchange. So basically, we said what up to each other, and then he was with another comic, and we just like kind of like dapped each other. I was like, "Where you guys going?" He's like, "Oh, we're gonna go get pizza or something." I said, "All right, man, see you later." And then I was like, wait, that's the dude from Stranger Things, right?
Right.
But honestly, a lot of people know him from Stranger Things. I know him from a meme that was like circling through Twitter at the time. It was just him like posted up in the driveway of a garage with his legs spread and he's sticking up the middle finger. And this was iconic to me. So I said, yo, Finn. I ran him down.
You're the guy from that meme.
I said, yo, let's take a picture, man. And he goes, I got you. And then I take a picture and I'm posing with my middle finger up in the driveway, like it is in the meme.
Yeah.
And he's smiling like it's a family photo. I said, nah, bro, put your middle finger up. And he goes, what? I said, yo, put your middle finger. He's like, bro, nobody has ever asked to take a picture with me like this ever. I said, bro, man.
Did he do it?
Hell yeah, he did, man.
That's amazing. Love it so much. May I ask questions about your religion and comedy and how they interact and intersect and everything?
Yeah, for sure.
So again, excuse my ignorance. Okay, so
not at all.
Tell me about Ramadan. So Ramadan, just tell me what it is remind me what it is. I know you. I remember Akeem Olajuwon, I believe it was, famously couldn't eat till sunset. Like, you tell me what Ramadan is, and how does that tie into Eidiot Mubarak? And then I'm going to ask you a question I had off the top, which is, doesn't that offend Muslims when you call it Eidiot Mubarak? So I'm curious about all of the above.
It's a good question. So basically, Ramadan is the holy month of like when the Quran was revealed and like finished. And in this time, Muslims are fasting from sunrise to sunset to kind of just...
Quick, I'm going to ask questions along the way. Mm-hmm. When you say fasting, does that just mean no caloric intake? Like, I'm legit
no
question.
Food, no water.
Can you have a black coffee?
No.
You can't have water.
Nothing.
So from sunrise to sunset for is it for a month? Is it
for a month? Yes.
Okay.
About 29 to 30 days, depending on the lunar.
Right. So from sunrise to sunset, no food or drink can be consumed by you.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What's it like? Just out of curiosity. So when the sun goes down, whatever time that is, I don't know. Like, are you guys all you can eat buffet? Like, let's go.
Some people like to feast out. You know, I think it's like almost it's more like a traditional thing to kind of feast with family or even feast with strangers. I personally, I like to go to like either family. There's two ways I go about it. Either go to the family's crib or do something intimate with my friends, or go to the mosque and I eat with strangers, you know, because there is like free food there. But also at the same time, you're very like content with the meals that you're consuming at that time, because your stomach has shrunk throughout the day. You're only going to eat what you need.
Right.
And because you got to keep going on for the days to come. You know, it's kind of like abstaining from kind of the gluttony of eating. You know, every day of the year we're eating just to eat. But this is the time where you have to kind of be a bit thoughtful of what you're putting in your body, how much of it you're consuming. So, yeah, it's just a month of like a kind of like thoughtfulness, man.
How far removed are we from Ramadan now?
We're about, I believe, like maybe about 8 days in.
Oh, so we're in it right now.
Yeah, yeah.
See how I'm sorry again. I apologize already for my ignorance.
No worries.
Okay, so today, for example, did you manage to eat something before?
Oh yeah, for sure.
rose?
So what you'll do is like you'll get up in the morning, get up before sunrise. You pray the Fajr prayer. Fajr is the morning prayer, just before sunrise. And you try to just eat as much as you can, or eat what you can prior, and then. And, you know, I recommend like getting a lot of electrolytes, coconut water, you know, fruits, things that'll hydrate you throughout the course of the day. But there's also some people who just like, who eat in the morning or eat before sunrise, and it does something to them where they're just like, I need more food. So some people go without even doing that, and they're better off.
They just, I can imagine some people are waking up after sunrise anyways, right?
But also in that time while you're fasting, you know, it's very important to, you know, focus on like doing things that you normally would. So like if you have to work, you know,
if you got to go to some guy's basement and talk about your comedy career.
Yeah. You know, just get to it, man. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so you've already had your pre-sunrise meal today, and approximately what time will sunset tonight?
And think in Toronto right now, it's been about like 7:30 has been the average. So like as spring goes on and summer is coming in, that I believe like the sun stays up a bit longer. So this year, and it goes back it moves back every year, like about like 30 to 40 days. So this is like the first year it's like been in like borderline spring winter, which is good because like the last couple of years has been in the summertime where the sun would set at like 9.
Right. So when you have your Eidiot Mubarak show on April 13th at the Winter Garden Theatre in Toronto here, how far out of Ramadan are you? Like, when does Ramadan end?
So Ramadan will probably end around like April 10th, April 13th, but Eid is also like a 3-day celebration. So you'll spend like, people will often spend like the 3 days with their family. They're doing their thing. And then this is going to be so by the time the 13th comes, which is a Saturday, they'll have time to kind of like kick it, come through and come to the show essentially.
So is it post Ramadan? Is it sort of, is it celebratory? What is the tone there?
So post Ramadan Eid is the celebration.
Eid. So Eid is the celebration.
Mm-hmm. Eid is the celebration of like the ending of Ramadan, the completion of the Quran being
3 days, you said?
And it's approximately 3 days of celebration. And in that time, you're not allowed to fast. In that time you're not. That's my phone.
That's okay.
In that time you're allowed to. In that time you're allowed to fast, and you're not allowed to fast. It's like there's also 2 Eids in the year. There's Eid al-Adha and Eid al-Fitr. And Eid al-Adha is like, I believe, correct me if I'm mistaken, then it's on.
Well, I won't be corrected.
Yeah, you will.
That's my pledge.
But there's one is like I believe Adha is like the goat, is where like you traditionally would like slaughter a goat, like learn how to slaughter a goat or something like that. And then Fitr is,
well, that's what the stockyards is for. That's the slaughterhouses. See, that's appropriate.
Yeah, circle back. I like that. And then Fitr is which is after Ramadan, is like
that's this one.
This is this one. You like traditionally like give money to
To podcasters?
Charitable organization, nonprofit organization.
What's the difference?
There's a difference. Yeah, almost anything place, but that's kind of the thing.
So what does Mubarak mean?
Mubarak,
So Eid Mubarak, is that like a greeting you might give a Muslim person during Eid?
Yes. So
Eid Mubarak.
Eid Mubarak.
Does it translate? Like, what does that mean? Just happy Mubarak or something? Happy Eid?
I think like the root word of Mubarak is like the root word for Mubarak is Mabruk, and Mabruk is like a celebratory thing.
So like when you have a joyous Eid or something.
Yeah,
or,
say somebody gets married or they graduated or someday you say, oh, Mabruk, or Elf. You would say Elf Mabruk, which Elf means 1,000 times. So you're saying like 1,000 times
Eid Mubarak.
Congratulations. So Eid Mubarak, I would imagine, this is just honestly, I'm not speaking from a place of like knowledge, but this is just
well, you're living it,
but
man.
Yeah, but Mabruk is like Mabruk, Mubarak.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my question is, you called it Eidiot Mubarak. So you're taking the word idiot and you're combining it with this word Eid, which is a celebratory 3 days after Ramadan. Does anyone come up to you and just be like, that's sacrilegious, to borrow a line from Homer Simpson?
I've gotten like a one message, but
Only
I think
one.
like I've gotten like
Because people get very serious. This is very serious when it comes to religion. Some people, not me, okay, but some people lack a sense of humor about this stuff. It's very serious, even though it's a celebration. Idiot, some might think it's disrespecting the important celebratory period for Muslim people. Not me, okay, Hassan. I think it's funny, but
it definitely doesn't come from a place of like malice or disrespect. From a context standpoint, like again, I am a Muslim from the city of Toronto, who has like a Jamaican background as well.
Right.
And the funny thing about that was, I remember just the root word of Eid and the phrase idiot in traditionally in Jamaican or in patois is what they would say. I thought that was like, I always thought it was very funny. I remember one time just talking to like one of my relatives who aren't Muslim, but they do respect the religion. You know, they respect me for sure. We were just like, oh yeah, Eid, idiot, this stuff. And we were just going back and forth, and I'm like, yo, that'd be funny, man, because it's just like it's just funny.
And your job as a stand-up comedian is to make people laugh. Like, that's how you get your dopamine hit. When you see a stranger laughing at your joke, that's the rush, right? That's the reason for everything.
Yeah, no, entirely. Like, I'm not doing anything for shock value or just to trigger people or anything like that. I just really think if I'm saying it and doing it, it's coming from what I believe is funny, what I believe is true, and those are two of the best recipes for a good time.
So what is the capacity at that Winter Garden Theater?
Just under 1,000 people.
Wow. So you sold out. So I'm doing some math over here. Okay. So you've sold out a show and you've got a second one you've added. Is there, like, if you wanted to send people to a website or some place where they could pick up a ticket for Eidiot Mubarak, this second show that has some tickets available on April 13th, where would you send them?
Honestly, just go straight to Ticketmaster, and then you'll be sorted. If you want to keep up with the percentage of sales or whatever, just follow me on Instagram. I'm at Hassan Phills. The link is in my bio. There, I kind of like, and my friend, my friend and co-headliner Malik Al Asl. He's a great comedian from the city of Calgary. He's killed it on Just for Laughs. He has a taping on Don't Tell comedy on YouTube that has over like 2 million views across all platforms.
Wow.
And the show is actually hosted by another friend and great comedian, Ahmed Weinberg. I'm a big fan of him. I personally have never done a show with him, but I've met him once before. He's also an actor on the show Late Bloomers.
I've seen this on Crave too.
On Crave too,
I've seen this. Very funny.
Yeah, Ahmed Weinberg, he's a very funny dude, man. Yeah, a great comedian, a better person. I look forward to getting to know him a lot better. But his story is amazing. He's both his parents are Jewish reverts, so his name is Ahmed Weinberg.
Yeah, because Weinberg is typically a Jewish surname, right?
Yes. I think I can't speak on like the story of how his parents met, but from what I believe is they were both Jewish and they became Muslim. Or
does that happen a lot, like crossing over like that? That sounds like a Habs fan who decides he's going to root for the Leafs.
I think, yeah, man. Look, Islam is like one of those religions that like everybody everybody can kind of get in. It's not like one that's like, oh, like how are you Muslim? I've met Chinese Muslims, I've met Korean Muslims, I've met.
Has anyone converted to Islam for the jokes?
Honestly, that could be a thing, man. Who knows? I think
if I convert, can I get in on this showcase? I just want. That's okay. There's my question where I want to close. Let's say somebody listening is not Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
Would they still be welcome to attend the Eidiot Mubarak showcase at Winter Garden Theatre? And part B to that question is, would they enjoy it?
100%. 100%.
You welcome non-Muslim people.
I welcome non-Muslims. I welcome Muslims. I welcome anybody that wants to come through and have a good time. The best comedy is it should be secular. Comedy in itself, humor is secular. You know, anybody could come through and just have a good laugh, and that's the goal. Even when I did the Eidiot Mubarak years prior, even the last year. Even though it was 700 people, it was about, not everybody was Muslim, about maybe 500 or so. But there's friends who want to come through and just hang out with their friends. You know, there's a lot of Muslims, there's a lot of non-Muslims out here who are missing their friends right now because Ramadan is in full effect. They don't even get to see their friends. They're bored. They're home twiddling in their thumbs like, yo, I can't wait for Ramadan to be over so I could kick it with my dogs.
I hear. Is there a greeting? Like, what would be an appropriate greeting for a Muslim person who is practicing during Ramadan fasting?
You say Ramadan Kareem.
Ramadan, like Kareem, like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar?
Exactly, Ramadan Kareem.
Okay, shout out to FOTM Kareem. I missed that guy too. Okay. He's actually of Jamaican descent, so there you go.
Oh, nice.
Full circle there. Now, I would like to know where we can follow more about your adventure. Now that you're an FOTM, people in the listenership are going to want to follow your career. I know you're going to be on this Crave show. Mm-hmm. I know you've got these 2 shows on April 13th at Winter Garden Theatre, but where can we follow you on social media? Like, where are you actively posting, etc.?
I'm actively posting on Instagram and TikTok at Hassan Phills.
You want to spell that? Just
HASSANPHILLS. Yeah, man, I'm heavily active on those platforms, just having fun with it.
Should I be on TikTok?
Yeah, man, get on TikTok.
I'm missing out, right?
TikTok is a bag, man. It's a lot of fun. If you're using it, if you get your For You page right, you're using it for the right reason. You'll get it sorted, man.
That's on my to-do list, is to dive into this world of TikTok. It's one of those things. You only have so much bandwidth, right? You know what it's like. You're an entrepreneur yourself. Like you know what it's like. You only have so much bandwidth. I just got to find the time and the energy to dive into this brave new world of TikTok.
Yeah, don't get left, man. Don't get left behind, man.
Too late, right?
No,
is it too late for me to jump into all this?
Never too late, man. Never too late.
How long does it take to convert to Muslim? Like, if I started the process,
you can do it right now, man.
Can I get, like, is there somebody who will give me my card later today? I just want in on this.
We can do it right here.
We do it right here.
We can do it right here, man.
All right, 2 words for you, Hassan. Ramadan. I fucked it up. Should I fix it in post? I'm gonna start it again, right?
Yeah.
Ramadan Kareem.
Ramadan. Alayna wa alaykum, man.
You know, I know this from Oz. I used to watch Oz, and they were in sects. Like, there was an Islam group, and there was the Irish guys, and it was just, the Nazis were. They had these sects, SECTS, by the way. Just to be clear. And I loved this show Oz. So before The Wire, which is my favorite show of all time, I was a big Oz guy. A lot of Wire guys were in Oz actually, and I remember the one guy, Assalamu alaikum. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, perfect.
Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah.
Okay, and then of course, shout out to Brother Muzone on the Wire. Assalamu alaikum. Thanks for doing this, man. It was great to catch up with you and learn about your pursuits here. And you're only 30, and you're on your way. I can't wait to see what happens in the next 10 years.
Thank you very much, man. I'm a FOTM, man.
You're an FOTM for life. They can't take that away from you. Flags fly forever.
Yes, flags fly forever, brother.
And I hope your show, the Movers, what's it called?
Office Movers.
The Office Movers. I hope it's so big. You know, the American networks are like, I need a piece of this.
Oh, for sure. It's gonna be.
That's where the money is, right?
This is the one for the books, man. Yeah, man. They either gotta get it or get left behind, man. They're gonna figure it out.
And that brings us to the end of our 1,456th show. You can follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky. I'm at Toronto Mike. Any final words, final comments before I thank the sponsors?
Listen, guys. Very important to go where you're celebrated and not where you're tolerated. From a digital space, from the meta space, but especially real life, man. It's very important to do those things, man. To make sure you're tending to your soil. Let your grass grow. Yeah, man. Go where you're celebrated, not where you're tolerated.
And that's one to grow on. Much love to all who made this possible. That's Great Lakes Brewery. They're actually here at 2 o'clock today. We're recording episode 3 of Between Two Fermenters. So subscribe to that fine podcast. Palma Pasta. They're both great sponsors. RecycleMyElectronics.ca. Raymond James Canada. Subscribe to The Advantaged Investor. The Toronto Maple Leafs baseball team. My next guest is Rod Black. And we're going to talk more about the Toronto Maple Leafs baseball team. And he's going to be there May 12. I think everybody listening, it's free, right? You go to Christie Pitts. For the 2 p.m., we'll have a little thing with Rick Emmett. We're going to have Stephen Brunt there. We're going to have Hebsy there. Mike Epple's going to be there. Yeah, you should be there too. And of course, shout out to Ridley Funeral Home. See you all tomorrow with Rod Black.
Picking up trash and they're putting down roads. And they're brokering stocks, the class struggle explodes. And I play this guitar just the best that I can.